All right, you are on the platform. Let's address our hotspot weather location, Merivale. I did Johnsonville and Wellington yesterday. I just thought we'd go down to Christchurch because slightly in the news, the upper echelons of Christchurch. A story that's broken, and I'll just read the stuff commentary on it. TVNZ says Scotty Stevenson. Now, Scotty Stevenson is a sports commentator. He does sport, and he calls sport. Apparently his sexualised slur about schoolboys in cricket commentary fell short, according to TVNZ. So what was the sexualised slur? Apparently he said during the cricket commentary on Wednesday, he called boys from Christ College syrup suckers. The school's headmaster, Joe Eccleton, let's try and get hold of Joe Eccleton, has said in a letter to parents and caregivers that as a school committed to the well-being, dignity and personal development of every boy in its care, we found the comment totally unacceptable. It is a sexualised slur directed towards minors, and such language has no place in any public forum, least of all a national broadcast. Our boys do not deserve to be targeted by ridicule or inappropriate commentary. Eccleton said he had submitted a complaint to the Broadcasting Standards Authority on behalf of the college, outlining its concerns and requesting that the matter be fully investigated. We have made it clear that we expect a higher standard of professionalism from public commentators, and the Mr. Stevenson's remarks fell well short of those expectations. We have worked as hard as a community to build a culture where respect, positive discourse, and care for one another, not too much care though, are at the forefront of our daily practices. For an adult in a position of influence to undermine those values is deeply disappointing. All right, I'm going to give you some background on this. And it goes back, I think, to the 50s or 60s, maybe the 70s. It's lost in the mist of time. Amongst certain schools in New Zealand, Christ College has a reputation, I think unrivalled, as being a bit snobby, as being, and thinking it's rather better than most schools. I went for a time to the oldest secondary school in the country, to Nelson College, which was part of a rugby tournament that featured Christ College in a rivalry. I think it's the oldest rugby tournament in New Zealand, multi-school rugby tournament in New Zealand. And I was soon indoctrinated into the banter of calling Christ College boys syrupers. Now, I don't know what the source code for calling them syrupers was, but because we're all adults here, it had something to do with lonely Christ College seniors at the boarding house deciding, in the absence of the ability of leaving the boarding house, that they, and it's all a myth, we don't know if any of this is true, that they would have union with some younger boys and the social lubricant and physical lubricant they use would be golden syrup. That's basically, and I don't want to be any more graphic than that. Is it true? Probably not. Probably not. But as a rugby player at Nelson College, I learnt that if one was in a ruck or in a tight rugby situation with the Christ College team, and you whispered the words or made a slur about syrupers, or get your hand off my bottom, you syruper, it would often put them off their game quite severely. Quite severely. And I may have been known to do that in the 1981 quadrangular tournament, with the desired result, in that the Christ College boys, or syrupers, as we jokingly and banteringly referred them to, would absolutely lose their lunch. I never understood until quite recently how deeply this affects the Christ College chaps. I was at, maybe 3 years ago, Nelson College won the quadrangular tournament at home in Nelson. I went back down there with, 20 or 30 of the guys I played rugby with last century. And it was interesting, Jason Gunn's son was the captain of the Christ College, the Syrupers team. And I saw him the morning after or the afternoon after Nelson had thumped them, and I said, bad luck, syrupers. And he absolutely lost his lunch. Old Jason Gunn and Thingy, he was incandescent with rage. And I don't think has ever forgiven me. So, look, Christ College, in the year 2025, you may be woke as hell. But I thought I'd tell people the story, and most people probably don't know that. It's a very obscure private schoolboy in-joke and bit of banter. But what a pity we live in an age where that sort of banter is unacceptable. And it really is. And the reaction of Christ College is why they deserve to be called syrupers. And Mr. What's his name? The principal, we might try and get hold of him. Mr. Eccleton, you're welcome to complain to the Broadcasting Standards Authority about me. Good luck with that. And as I said, there's the story, there's the true story that no one else will tell you, and that Christ College wants to be suppressed. Not that there's anything wrong with that.